What's going on, everybody? Michael here, 360 Digital Closing Bell here. We are live on YouTube from an undisclosed location here in Denver, Colorado on a beautiful June 8th, 2020. It is a Monday. We have a wild week and a wild show ahead of you. As always, I'm joined by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com, Stuart Turley. Stu, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing fantastic, Michael. We're having a busy week already.
We have an incredibly busy week. Before we dive into which is what we have a wild show, please subscribe to the 360 Digital Closing Bell, iTunes, Spotify, or on Entercom's YouTube channel. We dropped an episode this morning that really covered a sentiment that we're going to talk about for our one big thing of the day here. But please just subscribe to the shows. We appreciate everybody. Please subscribe, resubscribe, do whatever makes the algorithms go nuts. When we look at equities and specifically the energy market today, holy smokes, U.S. stocks overall climbed to a 15-week high, with energy equities setting another double-digit overall gain for the XOP, checking in at just north of 12% increase. So wild day all around, green all around, except for crude oil, which saw a little bounce back. But SPY started 32.32. That's about a 1.2% increase. And obviously, energy equities were on the upside, holding up that indice, which we haven't. I don't think I've been able to say that in years. That energy equities were holding up gains in the S&P 500. It's decent news. Nasdaq tech stocks only up about 0.5%, 98.76. Remember, they've been getting hit a little hard due to the majority of those stocks up in the Nasdaq or social media companies. A lot of the privacy stuff that Trump came out with as an executive order, sort of pairing a lot of gains that we should be seeing in the Nasdaq, who generally lead the S&P 500, considering the stocks that are consistent. Dow Jones being led obviously by Boeing had themselves a great day, 27,572, about a 1.7% increase. Crude oil only red number for the day. Front month contract trading at 38.21, about a 3.39% decrease on the day. Back into the curve for oil, 39.97. So that spread decreasing a little bit, only about $1.20 on the downside, or about 3% percent downside, excuse me. Natural gas up $1.80 even in some change, about a 2% increase, or about 1.1% increase. Back into the curve for natural gas, though not doing as well, only basically finishes the day flat, $2.80. So a nice dollar split between the front and the 12-month strip. XOP, as we mentioned, had a great day, $71.88. That's up 12%, or up $8 on the day. OIH, which is an oilfield services contract, doing just a little bit better, up to $173.58. That's $19 on the index, or about 12.46%. When we look at energy equities as a whole, remember 153 companies in this list, only 7 companies negative, and the biggest loser was only at negative 4%. Number 3, Valerco Energy, they were only down 1.3% to $1.48. Mesa Royalties Trust down 1.5 percentage points onto $1.20, or excuse me, $6.28, and U.S. Energy Corp down 4% to $7.66. And on our upside, our top bankruptcy list, our gainest losers on the day, Whiting Petroleum, $3.48, up 152%. Chesapeake Energy up to $69.92, a 182% increase. I'm not making any of these numbers up, by the way. These are all legitimate. Extraction Oil and Gas, ticker symbol XOG, up to $1.48, or a 247% gain. Trust me, if you have to re-go and listen to that part, I'm not messing with you. 152%, 181%, and 247 for our top equity gainers. And before we dive into the international news desk, please, if you guys are not and have not checked into the Oil and Gas Conference by Entercom, please, I encourage you to do that right now. It is the investor conference, and it's going to be held in a really, really cool hybrid digital and in-person format. So if you're in one of the 4 cities of Dallas, Calgary, Houston, or Dallas, you are going to be able to get a early buy-in to be able to go see the conference. It's an excellent way to stay updated on everything for your investor relations side. Please check out all of the companies presenting and how to register at theoilandgasconference.com. Stu, what's on the international news desk for us?
Oh, hey, Michael, thanks. I'll tell you, Occidental's in the news again. They are reviewing their options for their Middle Eastern assets. And when they're trying to do, they had that $40 billion debt restructure after its Anadarko. So they're trying to redo their debt structure. they're almost ready for a buy if they can get their debt restructured. So I'd kind of keep an eye on that one. They could be a good buy for somebody.
Yeah, no, they definitely could be, and it'll be very interesting. I mean, 40, they could be that. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that 40 bills. You know, one of your favorite phrases is, what's 40 billion between friends? Like, what's 40 billion between friends? We should get that worked out. I mean, really, my one big thing for the day is, I wasn't joking when I quote unquote joked of this being a bankruptcy list for the day. If you listen to my podcast this morning, I mean, what we're seeing out of these huge, large swings, especially on the top half of these energy equity swings, is the fact that at oil prices from $37 to $40, a lot of these companies that we were thinking about going bankrupt, the Whitings, who are bankrupt, the Chesapeakes, the Extractions, the Callens, the Lone Stars, all of these high oil and gas shale companies that were probably going debt at $20 oil. Well, they're probably now solvent at 40, 45. So that's where you're seeing all of this thing. I mean, one of the best things for the long-term strength of a corporation is I was pumped. Bonanza Creek is one of a long-term hold in our 360 official, non-official fund portfolio. They were only up 12%. Great sign today, because that means they were solvent before. They were probably more solvent before. If you're seeing a 247% increase on Extraction, it doesn't change my opinion that they're probably not going to be around in 6 months. So be careful if you're looking at this. But I mean, that's really what we're seeing out of these big gains, some incredible gains. I mean, I did trade some options today on the long side for this. So, I mean, I did get in on the action. We're not going to have a huge bull day, and I'm not going to get involved. But as again, you'll have to listen to the 360 Digital Closing Bell podcast for all of our picks there. The only other things that I have coming across my ticker is, you want a good example here. California Resources Corporation, they were up pretty big today as well. They were up 34% on news they could file for bankruptcy as early as this weekend, according to the Wall Street Journal. So that gives you an idea. I mean, if there's not a clearer picture about what this means, it's right there. They're considering filing full bankruptcy this weekend, but their stock is going up 34% because there's a small chance they don't. And if they don't, this is wildly undervalued. So that's the gamble you're making. And in a recent 8K filing, they said they missed an interest payment that was May 29th. So, I mean, they were already on the brink of bankruptcy anyway, and it's probably still going to happen. So, I mean, it's just incredible. You got CRC up 34%. I would love to have that job. Let's come out and bankrupt the podcast and see our stock rise. That'll be really fun.
Hey, Michael, I don't know if you're old enough to remember Moore's law, which says the number of transistors in a processor will double every 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, no, I took computer science.
Yeah. All right. Guess what we're going to call your little predictor model? We're going to call it Tanner's law, because you haven't been wrong yet on all your bankruptcy predictions. Let's create the Tanner's law.
I'm interested. We'll have to come up with some metrics, but Extraction doesn't pass. I'm sorry. But they were up a cool 247%. And I mean, I love me some Extraction. Their CEO, Matt Owens, he's a former Mines baseball guy. I mean, we're brethren together. So it's nothing personal. It's just, we look at the research here. The only other thing I had on my plate was I really wanted to just talk about, from an energy equity side, part of the reason why you saw Occidental rise today is there's some rumors swirling about what's going to happen. They were up big. Obviously, Stu mentioned them in the international news desk side, that they're looking at selling some Oman assets to cut down that debt. Well, why do you think they're looking to cut down their debt? Well, they're looking to get acquired probably. And I think, moving forward, that'll be a very interesting story we're going to watch. But I think we've gone ahead and let you guys get back to work. Thank you for checking out the 360 Digital Closing Bell here on Oil and Gas 360. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the Digital Ticker.